Okay, let's talk about Grok, but I want to start with a pretty wild question. What if an AI was being trained with enough raw power to run an entire city? Because that is the real-world scale we're talking about with Elon Musk's Grok. In this breakdown, we're going to trace everything you need to know from what it can do right now to its absolutely massive 6 trillion parameter roadmap.
And no, this isn't some hypothetical, far-off future scenario. This is happening right now. It's the kind of ambition, the kind of resource commitment that you really have to wrap your head around to understand just how serious this project really is.
So, what are we actually talking about here? Well, the hardware that trains Grok is the Colossus 2 supercluster, and it needs, get this, 1.5 gigawatts of power. To put that into perspective for you, that's enough electricity to keep a city of 1.5 million people up and running. This isn't just a big investment, it's an enormous all-in bet that the future of AI comes down to pure, unadulterated compute power.
All right, so here's how we're going to break this all down. We'll start with that city-scale power source, then trace Grok's incredibly rapid rise. We'll dive into its big technical leap into multimodality, analyze what gives it a unique edge, and finally, we'll get to that historic 6 trillion parameter plan and decide, is this hype or is this the real deal?
So, let's jump back to the beginning, because to really get a handle on what Grok is today, you have to see where it came from. xAI was only founded back in March of 2023 by Elon Musk, and he had a very specific mission: build a maximum truth-seeking AI. Now that phrase alone tells you a lot. The plan from day one wasn't to build some overly cautious filtered AI. Nope, this was meant to be direct, to push boundaries, right from the start.
And the pace since then has been just relentless. Grok 1 launched in November 2023, already packing a huge 314 billion parameters. Then, in a really bold move, xAI open-sourced it in March 2024. And that was a huge deal. It was a play for credibility and a direct shot across the bow to its closed model rivals. The models just kept coming, and by July 2025, we had Grok 4, which could do everything from scientist-level reasoning to, yes, interpreting memes.
So how in the world are they moving this fast? Well, the secret sauce is its mixture of experts, or MOE, architecture. Instead of firing up the entire massive model for every single request, it only uses the specific expert parts it needs for the task. Think of it like having a whole team of specialists instead of one generalist trying to do everything. It's just way more efficient, and it's what allows them to scale up like crazy.
And this super efficient architecture leads us straight to the current version, Grok 4.5. And this is where things start to get really different from the competition.
You see, Grok 4.5 is what's called natively multimodal. Now, this isn't a small detail. A lot of other AI models kind of bolt on features like image or video understanding after the fact, which can get clunky. Grok was built from the ground up to handle text, images, video, and audio all together cohesively. The result is a much more capable and coherent model.
So what does that actually look like in practice? Well, one of its most powerful features is real-time video parsing. You can give Grok a long video and ask it incredibly specific questions like, hey, what happened at the 2-minute 34-second mark? And it can tell you, accurately. That's a level of video comprehension that most other models just aren't at yet.
Okay, so Grok is clearly powerful, but how does it actually stack up against the titans of the industry? This context is absolutely crucial for understanding where this is all going.
Right now, you've got the big players: OpenAI's GPT-4, Google's Gemini, and Grok. Each one has a key strength, right? GPT-4 has a mature ecosystem of apps and services, Gemini has Google's insane data infrastructure behind it, but Grok's advantage is something else entirely: deep vertical integration into its own tech universe.
So what does that really mean? Well, think about it. Grok is plugged directly into the X platform, giving it a fire hose of real-time public conversation data. That's huge. But even more significant, it's being designed to be integrated directly into Tesla vehicles. We're talking use cases in driver assistance, in-car entertainment, even autonomous decision-making. That is a real-world distribution channel that no other AI company can even come close to.
And now we get to the part of this story where things go from just impressive to potentially historic. This is the roadmap that has the entire tech industry paying very close attention.
Elon Musk confirmed that Grok 5, the next major version, is being delayed until the first quarter of 2026. And the reason why is simple. When you're training a model at this kind of unprecedented scale, it takes an immense amount of time to do it right. Rushing it would just undermine the whole point.
And why do they need so much time? Because Grok 5 is set to feature 6 trillion parameters. Just let that number sink in. For context, Grok 1 launched with 314 billion parameters, which was already considered huge. Grok 5 is planned to be roughly 20 times bigger. The jump in scale is just staggering.
And it's not just about the size. xAI is being very explicit here. They are framing this model as a serious contender in the race for artificial general intelligence, or AGI. Now, that term gets thrown around a lot, but for xAI to attach it to their official roadmap, well, that tells you everything you need to know about the ambition behind this project.
So let's get to the bottom line. If you've kind of been sleeping on xAI, maybe assuming it was just a side project, now is definitely the time to update that view.
The facts really speak for themselves. You've got this world-class training infrastructure, a really efficient and scalable architecture, and that killer ecosystem integration with Tesla and X that nobody else has. This is not a pipe dream. It's a funded, actively developing reality.
That being said, there are still some legitimate questions. We're still waiting to see specific benchmark results for Grok 4.5. We have no idea what the pricing or access model will look like for developers. And of course, the real test is always how it performs out in the wild. So we'll definitely be watching this space very closely.
So which one is it? Is Grok's path to AGI an inevitable future, powered by unmatched resources and a unique vision? Or is it an incredibly ambitious gamble that still has to prove itself? The next 12 months are going to be absolutely fascinating. If you found this breakdown helpful, be sure to subscribe for more clear, hype-free analysis on all the biggest moves in AI. We'll see